All right. Welcome to another edition of Brooks's Buddies. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I've got Monro here. Honor, tell me, am I right here in saying that you played professional rugby? You played rugby for Canada men's rugby team as well, and and even though you're Scottish, is that correct?
Well, yeah, I've got dual nationality, Mr.
Oh.
Brooks. So, but my family's Scottish, but I was born in Toronto because my dad was in the army, and we were stationed out there at the critical moment. So I arrived, and I got a Canadian passport when I was about 23.
And that sounds like it worked out for Team Canada. I hear you went to Edinburgh University, played rugby there.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I'm reading here 3 professional rugby teams. Is that correct? The Gunners, Waterloo, and some team in Italy, Colorno. Is that correct?
Yes, that's all accurate. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And then from there, like you were, From there, I've got you down as playing for Canada, men's Canada team in 2 Rugby World Cups, both 2007, 2011.
Correct.
Now, from what I've seen and read and heard, the highlight for us would probably be when you guys in 2011 were in New Zealand and you beat Tonga in your opening match. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
That sounded pretty amazing.
Well, it was phenomenal. That was one of my that's one of just my all-time playing highlights and career highlights for me, was that match, because I played in the 2007 World Cup and we drew with Japan, but we didn't manage to win a game at that World Cup. And so I really, really wanted to get a win for the team, for the country, and just kick off the World Cup really well. And Tonga had played 4 days earlier in a fixture, and they had a really short turnaround. So we kind of knew they might be a little bit tired. And we'd been in New Zealand for a while, and we were playing them at this place called Whangarei. And it was really windy and it was really wet. And these guys are absolutely massive. I don't know if you can bring up the picture of the Tongan rugby team for your students at some stage, Mr. Brooks, but
I will.
These guys are hefty lads, and very few piano players, all piano movers. And they do this war dance as well before the game to try and sort of intimidate you and throw down a challenge. So it was a great match, and it went. We went ahead, and then they came ahead, and we came back and won it at the end. So awesome, really, really great feeling.
So from my experience, because I remember watching that. And I know where I was when I watched that. It was Stuart Peats, and it was pretty incredible because I remember that Tonga is they're quite a team. They're quite fast as well. They're pretty amazing in sevens. I seem to remember. And then it was just my expectations totally changed for Canada. I seem to think, like, here we go. We've got a team. We're going to keep going. You really helped that solidify that, I think, especially as a fly half. Can you tell us what does a fly half do?
Yeah, no problem. So the fly half is, in my mind, you're really responsible for managing how the team plays and where the team plays. So that's often your role. It's very decision-making oriented for that position. So you have to be you have to understand the game deeply and know the game well, so that you can make the right sort of tactical decisions on the field. And then you obviously need the skill set so you can then execute those decisions. Now, for me, wasn't very big, seriously, pretty slow, quite good acceleration, not really much of an attacking threat. So I was quite a good passer of the ball, and I kicked the ball quite well. So those were a couple of things I did really well, and I made some good decisions too. So I just kind of helped the team play. That's really what the fly half does, is try and help get the best out of everyone around you.
And so 2011 World Cup, huge stage. Seemed like you guys were playing really well. Sounds like you managed to retire at the top of your game. Then you sort of finished at that time. Is that right, or did you continue on for another year?
No, I did. I kind of finished at the end of the 2011 World Cup. I did play some club rugby after that. Shout out to the Castaway Wanderers out there, students. Yes, Mr. Brooks tells me there's a few of you guys who are heading down to the Dub Club, down to C-Dub at Windsor Park. So awesome to hear. great club. That was my club when I moved to Victoria.
Ah.
I played a little bit more for Carsbury Wanderers, and I even considered a comeback to the Canadian national team for the 2015 World Cup. And I'd already, as Mr. Brooks had said earlier, I'd already been to the 2007 World Cup. I had, at that stage, three young children under the age of 5. And I was just starting out as a new teacher. And anyway, I was up at the fields practicing my goal kicking, because that was one of the other skill sets that I used to have to do. And I remember it was raining. I had hardly seen my family. Because all the time I'd been working, trying to become better at teaching. And I just stopped and I thought to myself, what are you doing? Like, what are you trying to prove to someone? And I just realized then that I actually wasn't prepared to make the kind of sacrifices that you need to represent your country and to play at the top level in sport. So that was it. I packed it in and I went home and I called the coach and I said, I can't do this. I'm out.
Yeah. So, but it's not like that's like, I mean, it's always something nice when you know that you retired when you were like top of your game and you guys were playing so well. So congrats for that one.
Yeah, thank you.
I see behind you, I saw some photos or jerseys or something.
Oh.
You want to tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, there's a few. I'll show you the jerseys here. There's a few sort of bits of memorabilia from the playing days. Yeah. That's me playing for Edinburgh. Against the Newport Gwent Dragons. So that's me playing for that professional team against a Welsh side. So we're playing down in Newport.
Yeah.
This is a picture of the 2011 Rugby World Cup team.
I see it.
So that's the squad. I don't know if that's coming through all right for you there.
Yeah.
If you can see that. This actually is a picture of the Scottish Schools under 16 team that I played for. Because actually before I ended up playing for Canada, I played all the age group levels for Scotland. So I played under 15s, under 16s, under 18s. And here's my son, Felix. Say hello, Felix.
Hi.
Hello, Felix.
Hi,
What can we do? Because we're in a class at the moment. We're having a chat. Look, he's got the Carsbury Wanderers top on.
What a great t-shirt.
Yeah! Go, Zidane. What's happening? Because I've got to have a chat.
We're watching Monro.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, off you go. I won't. He wants to know if I want to watch television. Do you see that restraint, students? See the restraint. I could have gone, didn't. And then I also helped coach, once I finished playing, helped coach the U18 rugby team. But over here, and I brought a few other jerseys down as well for you guys to have a look at if you're interested.
Oh, yeah.
But a student at the school really kindly made this gift for me of the actual wooden frame. Mm-hmm. And it's got these 3 jerseys framed. So this one, I'm trying to make sure the light doesn't get on it. So this one in the middle, this is my first cap. This is the first jersey that I ever wore when I was playing for Canada in 2006 against England A. So this is my first test match, and that's the cap that you get. So every time you play a test match, you don't get a new cap. You only ever get one, but they call it an extra test cap. So they just sort of count the numbers up. Mm-hmm. I played 30 times overall for Canada, so I had 30 caps.
Wow.
This jersey here is the Australian jersey, and this is a really well made, like beautiful jersey. It's got the stitching of the game here, the details. Australia versus Canada. I don't know if you can read that, guys. Bordeaux, 29th of September 2007. And this emblem is actually sort of made of felt, and it's quite sort of fuzzy to feel. So it's interesting. And you also get a cap for the World Cup. So that's the 2007 Rugby World Cup cap. And we had a capping ceremony in, I think it was in Nantes, where we played our first game against Wales. And so you get presented with a cap there. So was my 2007 World Cup. And then this one here is the 2011. So France were the finalists in 2011. And they actually probably should have won that game against the All Blacks, but the All Blacks were really savvy, and they just, amazing rugby team. Some of you will know the All Blacks well. We actually played the All Blacks in this World Cup too. They were in our group, and that was my final match for Canada, was against the All Blacks. So that's the team that if you're an international rugby player, you want to play the All Blacks, or almost any kind of rugby player, to really test yourself against the best in the world. and then this is the cap for 2007. So I know it feels a bit sort of what's the word? Not arrogant, but over self-celebratory. But it's really nice to see these and just sort of be reminded of those moments, because they were amazing experiences, and off the field as well, not just on the rugby field.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine. Sounds absolutely fantastic, and this is why we want to hear from you. I'm just going to move on. I got a couple more questions here. When I think of rugby, I think of it as a possession game for sure, but I also think of it as quite an explosive game where you've got to explode into a gap. You've got to try to get around people or try to push the pile or whatever it may be. What can you do at home for these kind of athletes to keep that explosiveness going? I mean, especially if we're have all those distractions about having to go watch TV or something, like.
Yeah, so absolutely. And you know what? I mean, right now I think it's a pretty tough time for many people, and there's limitations on where you can go and the sorts of things you can do. But you don't need that much space. And I think at the moment for us on the island anyway, we're allowed to get out to the parks, and as long as we keep that social distancing, there's still a lot of things that you guys can do to sort of try and keep yourself sharp and build your athleticism. For me, one of the things is working on your agility. And if you want, you can let some cones up in different places, and you can practice doing sprints between the cones. Don't go for too long, but maybe just go for sort of about 5 to 10 second bursts or something like that, where you're really looking at changing a direction, accelerating as quickly as you can, keeping your footsteps as light and as fast as possible. Okay, and all those sorts of movements are going to train your body and your muscles to become more explosive. You can do jumps, like jumping's excellent. Okay, so I was in the garden the other day with my boys. I've got a 6, 8, and a 10-year-old, and we were doing a combination of like broad jumps and like jumps for height. So standing jumps for height, see how high you can jump. You can, if you've got a wall, what you can do, if you've got a piece of chalk or something and your parents don't mind, check with them first perhaps, but before you start graffitiing the house up. But leap as high as you can, and then make a mark on the wall with the chalk as high as you can, and then take a bit of a break, and then have another go and see if you can beat it. So that sort of thing. Any kind of jumping movements. If you've got trampolines, like trampolines are amazing. My boys go on the trampoline for hours. I go on the trampoline and I'm exhausted after about 10 seconds because I just haven't practiced and I don't have the leg strength. So trampolines will build up a lot of leg strength too. And yeah, I think sprinting, just trying to stay as active as you can. Guys, if you can get out maybe 4 times, if you can be active and in quite an intense way, maybe 4 times a week, that would be amazing. And you'll feel great after it too.
That's a good point. We're going to be heading to the stairs shortly after this. Now, okay, time's running a little short here. I'm going to ask you for one last thing here.
Okay.
Your favorite soccer team?
Oh, you ask a rugby player about my favorite soccer team.
Well, you could tell us about your favorite hockey team, but I thought that might be a little tough too. So
yeah, I know. Well, this is terrible of me. I didn't really have a favorite soccer team. I'll tell you.
Yeah, you could go with hockey if they.
Can I go with soccer coach?
Certainly, yeah.
So just someone whose life I followed a bit and whose story I'm interested in is Pep Guardiola's, and interested in his. He coaches Manchester City and was the former Barcelona coach, and he is, I think, just his qualities as a coach, his understanding of behavioral psychology and how to create a winning culture, because he doesn't stand for individuals or people that think that the team revolves around them. What he wants are people that understand what the principles of the team are, and people who put the team first. And that's something that's really important to me as well when I was a professional sportsman. So I really like Pep Guardiola. Look him up if you don't know him. Check him out. He's a phenomenal coach and a great leader.
Sounds good. And I've heard about the Toronto Wolfpack. You know anything about that?
The Toronto Arrows?
Oh, is it what, the Arrows? Is that it?
I think the Arrows. Yeah, I think it might be the
Arrows.
Arrows. Yeah.
Yeah, staying up on that I am. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. To be honest, I'm not keeping myself as well informed as I could either. But yeah, no, it's new sort of professional rugby team. There's a sort of North American Rugby League coming out now, so I think they've got 6 teams or something. Again, I need to inform myself better on this. Some of your students will probably be able to let us know exactly who all the teams are. But unfortunately, their season has been kiboshed by COVID-19.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
it's very exciting that we've now got this professional team in Canada. It's a great stepping stone for our players who were previously trying to play at club level in BC, for example, and then you have to try and play at international level. And really, it's actually unfair to almost to ask that of a player. I mean, it's too big. It's really too big a step. So this is excellent. It gives the players a chance to, test their skills in a more intense environment under a bit more pressure.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And okay, I was thinking about what we have in Victoria too. Is pretty good. We're starting to get out there, but yeah, I really appreciate your time, Ander. And
Pleasure.
hey, I'll post this to you later. Thanks so much for being one of our buddies, and have a great day.
Pleasure. Okay, guys. Hey, good luck with everything. Students, keep working hard and do everything Mr. Brooks tells you. He knows stuff. This guy, he's pretty switched on.